There's been a lot of talk about AEW. There's been a lot of talk about that show not being as good as it once was. There's been talk that AEW's got problems. You got to restore the feeling, bruv. But the reality is that I think a lot of the criticism that AEW tends to get isn't really rooted in a criticism of the show. There's a lot of people, I think, who do have good faith criticism. Like, one of the biggest things, the Death Rider storyline, I think that's a very good faith criticism. But what you will see is you'll see a lot of people harp on negatives that really aren't there, but that are like perception things. I think I've seen this a lot recently. You'll hear people say that, oh man, AEW, they don't book talent week to week. Or you'll hear like something that has nothing to do with the show that they're watching. It's like, man, Tony Khan just got to be a boss. Tony Khan's got to do this. Tony Khan's got to do that. And it's like, all right, that's fine. That's cool. Give me examples recently. Give me examples recently about the booking that you don't like. Give me examples recently about stuff that you are not invested in because the story is bad. Not because not just because you're not into the story. That's a different thing. If you're not into a story, that's fine. There's a bunch of stories in AEW I'm not into, the Death Rider storyline for sure. But there's also stories I am into. Same goes for WWE. There's storylines I'm not into that I see the vision for. The Jey Uso stuff, it's not my cup of tea, but I see where they're going. And that's not like a whole, oh, this company is in the mud because Jey Uso is blah, blah, blah. No! You have to be stupid to think that. You have to be really stupid to think that, in my view. But it's wild because we treat WWE a lot of times. So you see people treat WWE with kid gloves because they'll be like, oh, I just love it. And it's fine if you like WWE, man. I love WWE. I love the stuff that they do with the Bloodline, mostly, except for any of the solo stuff. But we don't need to get into that. But I love that stuff. I love the integration of Roman being like this big piece, this big character that the entire show is kind of based around. That people's perceptions of Roman, who hangs out with him, kind of dictates the feuds that are going on, from Cody and Kevin to Drew McIntyre and basically everyone he interacts with. That's good. I like that integrated approach. But I can admit that. What you won't hear a lot of people admit is that they watch the show. You'll hear a lot of things like the perception is this, or man, I'm going to retread this same talking point that I've heard on Twitter for the last 2 years without actually watching and interacting and engaging with what's happening on the show. And people do it with WWE too. And there's a time and a place. And actually, I have discussed this at length at previous shows. But I'm seeing a lot of it hurled towards AEW. And I'm not an AEW defender. Y'all can say whatever you want. I don't stand for any company. At the end of the day, Tony Khan is a billionaire. And billionaires are who we don't care about. Tony's a very nice guy. But at the end of the day, I'm more worried about the product I'm watching. And if you were to ask me, I think AEW right now, in this moment, is probably doing as good a storytelling as they've ever done. From the stuff they're doing with the MJF and Jeff Jarrett stuff, which I know is not everyone's cup of tea, and there are good faith criticisms of that too, to the stuff that they are doing with Hangman Page and his arc, which I think is probably some of the best stuff on AEW, to the alliance to save AEW seemingly being Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, to, of course, timeless Tony Storm and Mariah May. All of the stuff that I just mentioned there, that's all stuff that's happening on AEW TV. That's stuff that's happened on AEW TV this week. That's stuff that it has been building up for the past couple of weeks. Yet the criticism is that there's no storytelling. The criticism is that they don't know how to tell stories. The criticism is that they don't know how to get fans riled up and engaged with the stories. All of which is untrue. They do. Is it as many fans as with WWE? Of course not. No. WWE is the biggest wrestling company on the planet. And until a lot of things go wrong for them, that is not going to change. But I do think that comparing the two in that, oh, well, X drew X amount of at the gate versus AEW which drew X amount or whatever. Like WWE grew like 16,000 here. AEW got like, what, 4,000, 3,000, whatever. To me, I'm like, all right, fine. From a business standpoint, of course, WWE's winning. WWE's great. WWE, oh, sure. All of your talking points, you got them. But I'm going to meet you with this. Why do you as a fan give a fuck about how good the business is? Outside of, is this bad enough for X company to go out of business? You really shouldn't care. I don't. Do I analyze things from a business perspective sometimes because it interests me? Yeah, sure. But that's not why I watch the show. Seldom have I ever gone into a show being like, oh my God, the biggest arena gate in history. No. Seldom have I ever been out here talking about, oh my God, they drew so much money and it makes me excited and I can't wait to watch the show because look at how much money this company drew. No. That's not what it's about, bro. It's about what you're watching on TV. To me, I get engaged with common sense storytelling, action-packed wrestling, and a visual experience. Both AEW and WWE have provided that. We are currently eating good as wrestling fans. We are currently in the midst of probably seeing the most talented rosters we've ever seen in the history of professional wrestling. Yet all we can talk about is this company is better than this company because look at all the money they're drawing. Okay, and again, if we want to have a business discussion about business, we can do that. But don't tell me that changes the way you view the show. I mean, come on. That's dishonest, not only to yourself, but it's dishonest to everyone else out here trying to have an honest conversation. In my view. And again, companies, man. Companies. Everyone wants to talk about companies. You'll never see me out here chanting, I stand for WWE, AEW. I'm not going to do that, man. Because at the end of the day, the companies, right, are only a vessel for us to watch great moments, to watch great matches, to experience week to week the whatever it is, the adrenaline, the captivating experience, or the disassociation from reality that we all get from professional wrestling, of having fun of watching the show. I think people don't just sit back and have fun and watch the show. They just chirp about it online. And if that's your grift and that's what you do, you just chirp about it. I mean, look, I talk about wrestling. I talk about it. And that's fine. But at least when I talk about it, I try my best to be honest. There's certain things I'll like. There's certain things I won't. And we all got biases. We all got different things. But don't do blanket statements. Or try not to. We're all guilty of them. But don't conflate business with story. Two very different things. Don't conflate stories you don't like with stuff that's not clicking. Don't conflate that. Because there's a bunch of things in AEW. Death Rider story. I don't like that. In WWE, Gunther as champion. Hey, man. Shout out to Gunther, one of my favorite wrestlers. Do I like what he's doing right now? No. But it's not affecting business and vice versa. So I'm not going to use a business argument to go against the Gunther stuff. Anyway. I don't know. That was on my mind. I just want to talk about it. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification button.